We'll start here in the room. We have 2 mics. Please wait for the mic. Jeff, go ahead.
Jeff Kassouf, ESPN. Emma, welcome again. You wanted to get in and get to know people, get to see the group.
Yeah.
What have you learned about the team over the past few days, and has anything surprised you now that you're immersed in the environment?
Well, their names, for starters. You have to start there, Jeff. No, I've been trying to get to know them a number of different ways. I have 15-minute meetings with them, so I haven't got through all of them just yet. But I will do between now and the second game. For me, getting to know the players both on the pitch, in the classroom, is where the overload has been. You know, there'll be some tired brains, for sure. But it's been a really, really good training week. So little by little, you know, I don't do fast friends. So I want us to build the right things in the right moments. And, you know, it's been a tremendous training week from the team.
JT, right there.
Hey.
Picking an Olympic roster is arguably the hardest thing any U.S. coach does with the roster position. How do you approach a task like that where some of these choices seem downright impossible with these talent pools?
Well, I'm not focused on that today. I'm focused on preparing the team for tomorrow. You know, the camp objectives this week have been, you know, developing, you know, an introduction to the structural principles, the principles of play. It's been about building trust. It's been about making sure everybody understands what the expectations are. So it's a process, and we've got to go one step at a time. And for me, the focus is on tomorrow.
Let's go to Steve up here, and then we'll go to Kevin.
Hey.
Steve Goff for Washington Post. We've seen your emotion and your energy on the sidelines and certainly out there. I was wondering, what do you love about football?
Oh, how long have you got? Ask Julie Fowdy. She had to spend a month with me a couple of years ago. And she's as much of a soccer junkie as I am. So, it's my passion. It's something I've loved from the very first minute I came out of my mum's tummy. From a household of passionate football fans, and for me, this is such a privilege to do a job that I absolutely love doing, and coaching, watching, being involved with this magnificent sport is, for me, such a joy, and being back in America is such a joy. Like, Denver's a lovely place.
Kevin, we're doing a switcheroo with a mic here. Hold on.
Hey, Emma, nice to see you again. Kevin Baxter, LA Times. As my colleagues Jeff and Jonathan mentioned, you've only been in the job a couple of days or been here a couple of days, and it's a very complex task that you have. But in those couple of days, have you learned whether you think it's going to be easier or more difficult than you anticipated?
Listen, there's many more complex tasks than putting a team together to go to an Olympics. There is no denying there is an unbelievable talent pool in this country. And selecting a group of players to represent this country is, of course, going to be a difficult one, because every single player, not just involved in this camp, but players on the outside of that, are so desperate to represent USA in the Olympics. So, of course, it's challenging, but not one that I'm not used to doing. And I don't have to do that just yet. I have time, and this is an opportunity, as I've said before, to learn about the players, learn about their tactical understanding, see where their technique is at the top level, expose them to a strategic setup that prepares us for tomorrow, first and foremost, and get the players to understand the most important things that are required at the top level. So I'm so, how to put it, the players' learning has been unbelievable this week. Their attention to detail, their thirst for knowledge, their application, the coaching staff, just one or two situations, they change it quite quickly. We all know they're competitive, but they've been incredibly studious all week, and I'm really proud of the effort they've put in.
Good.
Braden Nurse with the Denver Post. Obviously, a lot of Colorado representation here on this team. I know you said you don't do fast friends, but what have you learned about Sophia, Mallory, and Lindsay during the short time, both from a personality standpoint and a play style standpoint? Thank you.
Well, first I learned it was Lindsay's birthday the other day, so we had a nice cake to celebrate that for her. Lindsay's a winner, and having played in Lyon, particularly the last few years, she understands what it takes in terms of the daily behaviours, the requirements you need against the top teams. She's highly motivated to lead the team and make sure we put in place the right building blocks. Mal, I've got a really funny story about Mal. When I went to the NS, when it was actually United Soccer Coaches Convention in LA, I can't remember the year, I've told you this before, menopause is a killer. But whenever the LA convention was, and I had to coach UCLA when I was the Chelsea coach, and there was a young Mal Pugh sat on the floor, and they wouldn't let her participate in the coaching session. And I remember having an interaction with her there. I had my Chelsea recruitment hat on then, and maybe different sliding doors, maybe she would have become a Chelsea player in life. So having the opportunity to coach her now, very thoughtful, very intelligent, very methodical, and for Soph, presence, personality, desperate to take her game to the next level with the details that are required, whether it's a 9, a 7 or 11. Been really clear in her communication with me and what she expects and vice versa. The group's an absolute joy to coach. They really are. Real pleasure.
For those who don't know, Mallory went to 1 quarter at UCLA before she turned pro. I think we're going to Lakin and then over here to Steph and
I didn't
Meg.
know that.
Yeah. That's why she was sitting on the floor. You wouldn't let her play.
Oh.
Hey, I'm Lakin Littman with Fox Sports. Kind of a natural follow-up to the last couple questions, but what is something now that you're here in person, you've been with the team for a few days, have stood out or surprised you about the players that you wouldn't have been able to know the last 6 or 7 months since you were not here?
Good question. I mean, listen, we all know the main ingredients of the American DNA, and that will not change under my stewardship. I think there's been a better tactical understanding than I anticipated. But for me, the most important thing has been the ability to grasp information really, really quickly and learn. Sponges, unbelievable sponges. No matter what we've thrown at them this week, they're taking it on, they're absorbing it. This team is desperate to improve, and it's focused on the performances and the processes to do that.
Go ahead, Steph.
Hi, Coach. Steph
Hey.
Young from The Athletic.
Hello.
You talked about trust. Trust is a simple word that encompasses a lot. It's hard to build between just two normal people, and in a high-pressure environment like this with high performers. You talked about competitiveness. Just wondering if, especially with an Olympics around the corner, what are some of your approaches to building trust in this kind of environment? And what do you mean by trust? There's different kinds of trust.
Listen, I think it's probably right for me to say this to you on the front end. There's going to be lots of stuff I won't discuss publicly with the team, about the team, but we do it in a variety of formats. Some of it's facilitation in the classroom. And as we know, when you're building new relationships, right, you start from establishing my point around getting to know their names. I want to know where they're from. I want to know how many siblings they got. It's like establishing the facts first. Then, when you got that little bit of basics, the interactions can start to happen. Then opinions start to happen. Once opinions start to happen, we can start to go to the places we need. And this is just the beginning. Of course, this is a week where it's been an intense effort, but I think both off the pitch and on the pitch, we've done it a variety of different ways. I use lots of live training clips, lots of... In fact, as structure, I've taken it from other American sports. So I'm the attacking coach, specialist, Denise Reddy's defence coach. Stuart Searle was restarts, goalkeeping, Twyla transition. So we are specialists and deliver specialist information, and the players understand how all that structure works, and it's been a good week.
Meg.
Hi, I'm Meg Linehan, The Athletic. I know you just mentioned the American DNA. Identity, I think, was one of the big keywords that came up during the hiring process from U.S. Soccer. You said last week, Twyla Kilgore has been instituting some of the principles you want to see.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like we should expect any radical changes tomorrow, but when you are having people watch this team tomorrow, what do you think they should be looking for?
Well, I'm not going to do your job for you. You can do that. But I will have a dissect with Fowdy after about it. I mean, look, that's your subjective opinion, what you see. Twyla has, in the last 6 months, been put in place some building blocks. My job this week is to fill the detail. Is there going to be a transition away from that? No, it's being built upon that. I think there are lots of different things, but the differences are the details as opposed to major structural changes.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge, besides our deaf world champions, we have 4 world champions in here. Amy Ullman, 1991 World Cup. Joy Fawcett, of course. Shannon Box and Julie Fowdy in the back. We love seeing the people that set our history. All right, so Emma, thank you for your first press conference. We're going to get everybody to the mix zone. One bit of housekeeping. We'll have U.S. players there first. We'll take requests down on the field. Then we'll get the deaf players in there. And then training will be open for the first 15 minutes.
One thing from me.
Go. Illy will get you to the mix zone.